Okay, so in this video, now we're going to go over how you can do your illustrations, different examples, and what happens if you can't draw or you can't paint. There's actually still a way for you to do some illustrations. Now, I would encourage you to, when you start this process, maybe the first thing that you make, just to get used to using Amazon to upload your documents to, is make a journal. So this is my son's journal, the Maker Notebook, he called it. He loves engineering, if you couldn't tell. And every single page looks like this, except for the back. I think it has a couple different pages in it, but that makes it very easy. So they can make a journal themselves, learn how to do the process, the trim on it, pricing, all of that. Now, let me just pause here for a second. Maybe you don't want to publish a book that other people are going to see, that other people will have a chance to buy and own. You really want this to be a personal thing. Well, I would encourage you to use something like Shutterfly or Snapfish or some of those other photo book companies, and actually just use it like you're writing a book. So that's what my husband did one year when my Lacey here, I think she was 3 or 4 years old. If you give Lacey a pancake, obviously it's a play off of if you give a mouse a cookie, so we probably couldn't have printed this anyway. But I love it because it goes through, if you give a Lacey a pancake, and then on this side, my son, who was 6 at the time, drew a picture of the picture that they took of her. She's holding a pancake. And it says Silly Lacey. So obviously he couldn't spell her name or spell very well yet. But this, to me, this was probably my favorite gift I've ever gotten from them. While riding her bike, she goes too fast and crashes and starts to cry. So he writes boom, and apparently this is her falling off her bike. My husband said, he told her, just lay on the ground. Daddy's going to put the bike right here. Don't move. So it looks like you crashed. So fun. And chances are, if she has a baba, she will want a pancake to go with it. So you can do that. You can just make up a little funny story, or have the kids make up a little funny story, and just use Shutterfly or Snapfish to make that book. Here's another one that they did. They made their own I Spy books. Again, you wouldn't be able to truly publish this if you're going with the I Spy brand idea. But she was able to make this book through Shutterfly, I think. And the kids would lay out all of their toys, take a picture of it, and then we'd say, can you find a helicopter that has 5 propellers, a mailbox that is for mailing letters, 2 traffic signs to guide us, and a little dog that I named Gus? And then, of course, the kids have to find all those little things. Here's the dog, the mailbox. Lots of fun. Then my daughter, as she got a little bigger, she wanted to make a book. So again, using Snapfish and Shutterfly, she got her calicos out and took pictures of them in all these different scenes. So have you noticed, so far, we have not actually drawn anything. So if you are worried, am I going to be able to make any kind of book? I can't draw anything. I don't know how to paint. You don't have to. Your kids don't have to. And that's the beauty of it. So here's all her little calicos. They're having a birthday party. Use nature. So our latest book that we made, Nature Tells a Story, we just used bits and pieces that we found of nature, and we created scenes with them, and then we wrote a story about it. My little daughter, she made this one, riding the horse. So these are some of the illustrations in our book, Nature Tells a Story. And then when we put together in a poem form as you're going through the seasons, because there's different bits of nature that you find in different seasons, obviously. Or maybe you can do a blended illustration. So again, my daughter Lacey did watercolors, but then we also had a picture of our dog, Sophie, inserted in there via Photoshop. Here's a little behind the scenes look. So we had to put this blue screen up. It's just a tablecloth, and put Sophie in these different positions here so we could later put the pictures into Canva and remove the background very easily and insert her into the various pictures that we needed. It took a lot of work because she would only work for bacon. So it took a lot of time, a lot of bacon and a lot of time, but so much fun. Now, again, here's another blended version. My other daughter cannot, well, not that she cannot draw, she just chooses not to. She really likes graphic design. So on Canva, she made some of these pictures and then inserted real life dogs into the pictures. Here's Sophie again. She's all dressed up. Our poor dog goes through so much. She's loved. And then she wrote a story about that. Then we have a book called Sophie's Surprise, and we took the pictures of the dog and then inserted them into PEA, online. It's an online free program, and it can turn those photos into like a cartoon. So we made all of the photos into a cartoon for the book. Here's another example of that. So the idea behind this book is all of a sudden the family starts noticing, oh, she's eating more, and oh, she's taking all of the blankets and she keeps putting them everywhere, and she's getting fatter. What is going on? Until one morning we wake up and we see that she has puppies. And that's so cute because all the puppy pictures are adorable. Or maybe they can paint. So here's one that my son did. I want to say he was 9. And he just painted the pictures, and then we scan them with the printer into the computer and go from there. At some point, my daughter would like to just make a book out of all of the paintings and drawings that she's done. So this is one of them. So if you can paint and draw, I envy you. I would love to be able to do that. Maybe one day I will learn. So you could do like a collection. She would love to publish all of these into her own little art book collection. Or if you're any good at graphics design and you know that the copyright for them is free to use, so you're not getting in trouble, then go ahead and do that. So this is something that I made in graphic design, just working with a little bit of like a painting texture and such online. Then you have to decide on your cover design. So think about your trim size. That means what is the size of your book? This one's a 6x9. Those are typical of like your chapter books. Children's books, cookbooks could be an 8.5 by an 8.5. All of our books so far, almost all of our books, are 8.5 by 8.5. They're just the perfect size to sit and read. Think about, do you want hardback? Do you want paperback? If you want hardback, unfortunately, you can't do that with Amazon unless the book is at least 76 pages, I think it is. There are other options. There's a site called Ingram Spark, and they will let you do that with 24 pages or more. And I think it needs to be 24 pages long if you want a paperback on Amazon. So we've just stuck with paperback. We've done a few hardbacks, but they're very expensive just to even just print yourself to keep. We do it just because I think they'll last longer for the kids to keep on their own shelves. Cover design. You want it to stand out, but you want it to fit in. I know that sounds ridiculous, but you obviously wouldn't want your book, if it's a fantasy novel, you wouldn't want it to be displeasing to your eye, to all the other books on that shelf for young adults. Meaning like somebody would look at it and they think, oh, maybe this is for adults, the fantasy. It just doesn't look like a kid's story. So you want it to stand out from the other ones, but still just by looking at it, no, okay, yeah, I know this fits this genre and this age group, just kind of basically by looking at the cover. You want to have the same illustration format throughout the whole book. So if on the inside you have graphics in there, like it's a comic strip type of book, but on the front you did all watercolors, it just wouldn't make sense. You want your font on the cover to be large but also minimal. I use this book from the Wing Feather Saga just because I think they do a really good job of, just by looking at it, what its genre is and who it's for, and I can read it quickly. Even if it's really small on my screen, I can recognize it. So here's another few ideas of some cover designs. You can notice these all fit in, right? I wouldn't look at one of these and say, yeah, it doesn't belong, just by looking at the covers. Yes, these are all really great Christmas books, by the way, and I will do a video at some point of our Christmas Advent books and introduce a lot of the books that we enjoy every year. So here's some more examples of some cover designs. So for ours, obviously you can look at our books here, and just by looking at them, I know, yeah, okay, these are probably not meant for a teen. I can tell just by looking at that. I can tell also by the trim size of that, an 8.5 by an 8.5. Probably a 16-year-old wouldn't grab that book off the shelf. Let's see. Okay. When you're designing your cover, again, this will be in the packet. It'll be linked somewhere. At the very least, you can go to my website, homespun.storiespress.com, and it should be under the resources tab. But this will be your front cover, and this is your back cover. Try to design it on your own. This is a different size, just to give you an idea if it was more of a vertical book, and this would be more of a horizontal laid out book. Just play around with it. It's just fun to try to design on your own.